Hello everyone, good morning or good afternoon, depending on where you are. You are very welcome to today's session. This is the second webinar we are doing. Yesterday we looked again on GESE 5 and how to help you prepare for your topic. A little bit of housekeeping before we start. So I can see some of you have found the chat box. This is great. I can see your comments, but not everyone can see them. So can I please ask you to go in that chat box where you type, you see that where it says type message here, right above it, there is a blue button. At the moment, the blue button says all panelists. I want you to click on that button. And from the drop-down menu, the menu that pops up, I want you to choose all panelists and attendees. This way, everyone can read your message. I can see people have changed it. Great. I can see, I'm very happy you're all doing this. Yeah. So just a reminder to those of you that haven't done it, where you type your message, before you type, right above this, there is a blue button. It says all panelists. Click, choose all panelists and attendees. If you are live here today with me, I will be asking you to type answers and maybe answer to some questions. If you're watching the recorded version of this, you will not be able to see the chat. So sometimes I will be commenting on things that people write in the chat box, but if you're watching the recording, you cannot see that. If you have problem with your sound, if you cannot hear me properly, don't worry. You will be able to access the recording later. This, sometimes we have problems with the connectivity, and it is okay. You will have access the recording later. If you have questions if I have questions for you, you answer in the chat box where you now write, oh, I can see you, hello, good morning, you answer there. If you have questions for me, there is another button, a Q&A button. You will see this if you are on a laptop. You will see this at the bottom of the screen next to one of these buttons as Q&A. This is for your questions to me. Because you have registered for the webinar, you will receive the link to the webinar later this week. So you will know how to watch it again if you need to. All right, let's get started. Can I first check who was here with me yesterday? Can you type in the chat box? Yes, me, I was, yes. Great. So yesterday we looked at how you can prepare for your topic, and today we are going to look into delivering the topic. So we will start with having a quick look at what the examiner is looking for. We will continue with looking at how you can structure your topic discussion to make sure you cover all the elements that you need to cover. We will continue with some tips on how to engage the examiner, and in particular, we will look at responding and asking suitable questions to make sure that the discussion is really a discussion, the conversation is a discussion between two people. We will then review a performance. So I'm going to show you part of a performance of a topic discussion, and then we will go through some tips for self-study and preparation as we go through today's webinar. First things first, what is that the examiners are looking for? So we are looking, this is from the grade descriptors. This is what the examiner has when they assess the students, to make sure that they can get an A. This is for the best possible marks. So the candidates' contributions are very effective. Clearly, we can understand them. They are comprehensible, they are appropriate, and they fulfill the task. So if we are looking at your topic discussion, that you cover your topic, you cover all the points, and that you present your topic in a way that is engaging and it feels natural. It's not as if you are having, a formal 5-minute presentation where you are the only one speaking, but how you fulfill the task. Also, another area, there is comprehensible coverage of the communicative skills, functions, and language items of the grade. Yesterday, we focused a lot on looking at the functions, and we saw how to make sure that we prepare our topic form in a way that helps us cover those functions. A great performance, an A performance, is someone who can use these items, the communicative skills, the functions, the language items, with consistency and with a high level of accuracy and appropriacy. So you're using correct language, and at the same time you make sure that it is not too informal, because this is an examination. And finally, the interaction proceeds smoothly, with the candidate contributing promptly and fluently. So what we want to see is, we want to see candidates who present their topic in a way that is engaging, in a way that is natural, as if you are talking to a friend. You would never call your friend on the phone and speak for 5 minutes without breathing. The same thing we want to see in your topic discussion. We want you to bring in your topic, whatever is that you are interested in, and have a natural conversation that you lead with the examiner. Above all, let's see a summary of that, because that had a lot of language that it was for the examiner, not for you. So let's see what you need to know. First thing that we need to have is discuss your topic and cover your points. The key word here is discuss. We are not looking at presentations that seem mechanical, like the presentations that, as if you are reading from your notebook. We want a discussion where you engage the examiner. So again, discuss, do not present your topic. That's the key. So engage the examiner, ask a question, ask 2 questions, make sure that the examiner as a listener is involved in your discussion of your topic. And finally, use the required language as often as you can. yesterday we saw how to prepare your topic form to help you with this, and we will have another look at it today as well. So this is what we did yesterday. If you remember, my example topic was playing the piano, my favorite instrument, and we saw that anything that I decide to include as my points for discussion here and here, we need to put them in such a way that helps us cover the different areas, the different language areas that we need to cover. So if you remember, my first one was I like it better than other instruments, and I used that to give me an opportunity to use language to express preferences and give reasons. I added my piano lessons to give me an opportunity to talk about the past. Piano player as my future career was a point that helped me talk about the future. My next concert also gave me an opportunity to talk about the future, this time informing about my future plans. And finally, the piano and other people helped me to talk about quantifying, and again, talking about the future. So as you can see, I am using my topic form in a way that helps me remember those language areas. So if when I have the discussion with the examiner, if I can cover these areas, I know in my head, I know I covered the required language. And I showed to the examiner that I can use English to express preferences, talk about the future, talk about the past, quantify, give reasons, and so on. Now, the question is, how do I structure? We were in the planning stage. Okay, I've identified my points. I know that each point will give me, each discussion point will give me an opportunity to use the required language. So I know this, but how do I structure? How do I know how to start talking about my topic? How do I know what's my next point? So what I've done here is I have again the same topic, but now instead of looking at the language that I can use, I want to look at how I can structure it in a way that makes sense to me. So my first topic, I like better than other instruments. What is this? That's general information. This will give me an opportunity to use, to share general information about me, about my preferences. My piano lessons talk about the past. Piano player as future career is about the future, and so is my next concert. And piano and other people is again a general statement, but more global. It's not about my life anymore. It's not about my preferences, but it's a global sort of general statement that's about the world. So now that I have understood what each of my discussion points is doing, what I can do is I can structure it. So I want to start first with my general information, the personal thing. Then I want to talk about the past. Then I will talk about the future. And I will end this topic discussion with my a general statement, again, a more global statement. So let's have a look at how this structure, which you can use this with any topic. If you follow this, I will do first, second, third, fourth. If you can do that, you can do that with any topic at all, and it gives you a good structure of how to start your topic discussion, how to move on, what's my next point, what's my next point. Let's apply this to the example topic I presented earlier. So, if I want to talk about the general information, about that personal general information, I can say things like, oh, I prefer playing the piano to any other musical instrument because, and I know that if I do this again, I use language to show preference, prefer something to something else. And I can also add this because to show language for giving reasons. Now, at this stage here, how can I engage the examiner? What question can I ask the examiner about this? Type in the chat box. If you can think of any question that I could ask. Which instrument do you prefer to play or to listen to? Do you play any instrument? Do you play any musical instrument? Absolutely wonderful ideas. Very well done, guys. Excellent, great. So my example was, do you play the piano or any other musical instruments? Why? Why not? So you see, I want to make sure that I have in the back of my mind that I have a question ready that is appropriate for my specific discussion point, and I can engage the examiner so that I make it seem like a proper discussion on a topic that I have chosen. Let's move on to the next area, to the past area. So I can start talking about my previous experience with lessons. I can say things like, I started playing the piano when. So here I use the past simple to talk about specific time in the past. Or I can also use, I have studied the piano for. And here I use the present perfect simple to talk about the indefinite past, when I don't know exactly when. I talk about a period of time. I've studied the piano for 8 years, for example. Now, if I want to engage the examiner for this discussion point, what question can I ask the examiner? Type in the chat box, what question can I ask for this one here? Have you ever played the piano? Excellent question, Ezra. When did you start playing the piano? Excellent, yes. Did you have piano lessons in the past? Oh, I'm amazed. Very well done, all of you. When did you start playing the piano? Have you ever had any lessons? Oh, wonderful, wonderful. Very well done. Yes. Let's see. Have you had any music lessons? Very similar to what you had. And I show here with my question, I engage the examiner, I participate in a discussion, and I also show that I can use the required language. I can say, have you had the present perfect again to talk about an indefinite past. Very good. I think we're doing really well. You're on top of your game, as we say here. Very good job, everyone. Let's see now the future. That's my next step. I talked about me and my preferences. I gave some information about my past, and now I want to move on to something about the future. And I can do that by saying things like, oh, I think that I will play professionally in the future. And what am I doing here? I'm using a future form to make a prediction. And then I can say something like, my first concert is next week. I will play in Avenue Hall. So I'm using a future form here to give information. Again, I'm using my structure here to make sure that I hit those language points, that at all times I use the language that I need to use to show to the examiner that I know I am at the level. I now need to get, to pass this exam to move on to the next level if I want to. What question? How can I engage the examiner here? Oh, I see. People say, when will you play the piano again? Oh, yes. Do you have any plans about music in the future? Amazing. Yes. What are your plans in the future? Maybe about, with music. Would you like? Oh, very good. Very good. Let's see what I had here. I had, do you think playing the piano as a career is a good option? Just as an example, it's not the best, it's just an idea that came to my mind. And this way, sort of, I thought of a way of linking these two. So maybe I can ask this question first, and maybe the examiner will say, oh yes, I think it's a good idea. Many people, people who play the piano professionally seem to be very happy. And then this will give me the chance to say, oh yes, I think I will play professionally in the future. I think that's what I want to do. So I'm creating those links, those connections between what I want to say and the question that I want to ask the examiner. And finally, about this sort of final general statement that I can make. I had one more question. I'm sorry for that. I had one more question for the future. Have you ever been there? If I talk about the Avenue Hall, I can say, have you ever been there? That's another question. And then about the general statement, I can say things like, what I like so much about it is that it helps me relax. I think many people will play the piano in the future. So I'm making a prediction, but again, is a general statement. And I also have, I'm making a prediction, a general statement, as I said, and also use some quantifiers here. And what is a question perhaps that I could ask the examiner for this discussion point? Do you think using musical instruments relaxes a person? Ah, okay. Yes, that's a good idea. What other question, does the piano relax you as well? Does playing the piano relax you as well? Do you prefer playing in front? Oh, very good. Yes, I like that. I thought, do you think they will? Because I said, remember my last comment was here, I think many people will play the piano in the future. Do you think they will? Do you think they will more people play the piano in the future? That's another way of engaging the examiner. Right, so thank you so very much. Your contributions in the chat were absolutely amazing. Well done to all of you. You are all on the right path. What we are going to do now is the following. I have some examples here for you. I will play, so you will listen to some extracts. They're very short, that highlight, that aim to show you how examples, good examples, or maybe what we can do to make them even better, of how to engage the examiner. So let's listen. So we're going to start with your topic. Can I have your topic form, please?
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to talk about...
We're going to talk about the piano. I think it's the best instrument and I prefer it to others.
Did you manage to hear that? Were you able to listen to that? Yes? Yes? Very good, yes. Let's compare this. Let's compare this to the next. So we're going to start with your topic. Can I have your topic form, please?
Yes.
So we're going to talk about...
The piano. Do you play the piano?
Yes, I do actually.
Or any other instruments?
No, just the piano.
I see. And why do you like the piano?
I like the sound of it. What about you? Do you play the piano?
Yes, I do. I like classical music and I can play many classical songs on the piano.
Right, guys. So in this example, what we heard at the beginning, the first instance was somebody who started immediately with their topic, and it felt as if they are reading a script, as if they are reading a text. The second one seemed more like a conversation. It felt more natural. Why? Because you can ask the examiner a question near the start of your topic. In the recording, the candidate asked too many questions, I think. It was 2 or 3 questions and felt as if the candidate was asking, the examiner exactly. We don't want that to happen to that extent, but it is a good idea to consider the possibility of starting your topic discussion with a question. What is your topic about? Oh, the topic is about my favorite person in the world, my best friend, whose name is Joshua. Do you have a best friend? And then the examiner will say, oh yes, I do. I have, my best friend is George. And then you go back to your topic and you say, I think the best, Joshua is my best friend because, or, so it's a good idea to start with a question. If not at the very beginning of the topic discussion, maybe at near the start of your topic discussion. Let's look at 2 other examples. Listen, we're going to listen to 2 examples again, and we will compare these new 2 examples.
What I like so much about it is that it helps me relax. I think many people will play the piano in the future. And you?
Yes, I think it's an interesting point. I agree. And now the second one.
What I like so much about it is that it helps me relax. Is it just me? Or do you think other people think the same?
I think many people relax with music and classical music. And I don't know, do you know many people who play the piano?
Yes, I have a few relatives that play the piano.
How are we doing? I see some people say they couldn't hear. What about the rest of you? Could you hear to these 2? Okay. Maybe with some of you, if your connection is a little bit slower, you might be able to listen to it with a little bit of a delay. No problem there. Exactly. So the difference between the 2 is the type of question that the candidate asked. In the first example, the candidate asked, and you? Whereas in the second question, it was a full open question. There is nothing wrong with asking, and you? Nothing wrong. We do this in everyday life all the time. So no problem, you can use that. It is good though, it will show to the examiner more variety if you use fuller questions, if they are full questions. So you can say, and you, do you like, and you, do you like playing any other instrument? And you, do you think many people like playing the piano? So it shows more variety. But you can just say, and you, how about you? Exactly. They are fine. It's just that the second option was a little bit more complete. Then let's go to our third pair of listening of extracts. Again, I'm going to play both. Listen to the two and we will discuss them immediately after.
I have practiced the piano for 10 years. I think piano lessons are very interesting. Do you think they are interesting?
Oh, we lost the next one. I'm sorry for that. So the question was, do you think they're interesting? And again, we saw in relation to what we saw earlier, in relation to these two here, we saw an open question. So we started with a closed question and then we saw two open questions that are more engaging and also help you show to the examiner that you have a variety of language that you can use. The important part, the important aspect that I want you to keep in mind is that if you use questions, you engage the examiner and you make this seem as if it is a nice, natural discussion rather than something that you memorized. And I know that when you go to the exam, you're a little bit stressed, so you want to be very well prepared. That's why it is important that you choose your topic and you choose something that you know and that you feel comfortable to discuss with someone else. Let's continue. Let's see. We are going to review a performance. I am going to share with you a video. We are going to watch the video. It doesn't matter. I want you to listen. I don't care about what you watch, so don't worry about what you see. I want you to listen. It is going to be a full topic discussion stage. And I want you to tell me, is what you see a topic presentation? Is it natural, like a discussion? Or do you think the candidate has memorized a script? That's what I want us to do. Let's go.
We'll do two things together this afternoon. We'll start with your topic, we'll talk together and then we'll have a conversation.
Okay.
So we're going to talk about your little son.
Yes.
How long have you been a father, Ali?
He is 3 years old and his name is Arin. Actually, he's born in Greece. He's not born in UK, yes.
Really? In Greece?
Yes, yes.
Oh.
And he is only 3 years old.
So, you've been a father for 3 years then?
Yes, it is.
And you've put here, he likes playing with toys. Have you bought him any new toys recently?
Oh, yes. I bought toys, actually 3 3 days a week, and he would like most of cars, which is he bought last 3 days. I think I bought a big lorry.
Yes.
I spent about £35.
Wow.
And he really liked it.
I've got a little grandson who's nearly 3, and he prefers toys that make a lot of noise.
Oh, yes. I think most of children like the voice things, like cars, gun, whatever. Many things, yes.
Now, you've put swimming here. Have you taken him to the swimming pool recently?
Yes, he would like to go in swimming, and he would like... Sometimes he asks me, Daddy, come and take me to swimming, and we go into swimming. He would like to swim, yes. Sometimes if we running outside, he like to telling me go in bathroom.
Oh, yes.
I take him to bathroom.
So you have a little swimming pool.
Yes, it's like a little, and put some toys in the bathroom.
Yeah.
He would like play in.
And how much time do you spend at the swimming pool when you go?
Actually, we spend time 45 minutes most of time, and sometimes more than 1 hour.
And in the future, will he have any swimming lessons?
Yes, I think he would like, yes.
So everybody loves him. Have you got a lot of friends and family that you socialise with your family here?
Yes, definitely. That's why he smiles to everyone. He also is using some our language words like uncle. He has one time I've been outside. He told an English guy, which is telling him, hello mama, our language, it's mean uncle. An English guy answered to him, said, oh, I'm not uncle, I'm not mom. I said, oh, sorry, mom, our language, it's me, uncle.
Can he speak much English yet?
Yes, some words, but he's speaking most of words our language, but yes, he's speaking some words on English, like sorry, I need toilet, some words, yes.
And has he started school or nursery yet?
No, he's at the moment he's in nursery because he's only 3 years old.
And when will he go to school?
Probably next 2 years, I think. And he's nursery now. He is better than someone in nursery.
Very good.
Yes.
Ask me a question about your topic, Ali.
My asking question for you.
So you can ask about my family, for example.
All right. You got married?
I've got 2 daughters and I've got 5 grandchildren now.
All right.
So yes, lots
I
of
mean,
babies.
your husband alive? Or?
Oh yes.
All right.
Okay.
That's great.
All right, guys. So I can see you all typing in the chat box. Remember, we don't care at the moment. We don't want to analyze the language that the candidate used. It's not about whether he passed or failed. I want you to tell me, did it sound, were these two having a discussion? Some people say yes, some people say no. Okay. There was, the candidate responded to the questions of the examiner, maybe not fully. Maybe, I know with the first one, some people saw that the first question was not answered, but we saw 2 people talking to one another. Maybe not the best performance, but we didn't see somebody who stood there and seemed mechanical, saying, you know, yes, I have a family, my family has 3 people, I have, you know, my wife and my daughter and what, you know, but there was a little bit of give and take with the examiner. And I'm very happy that you wrote, many of you, that the examiner was very helpful. And that is something that I really want you all to know and prepare for. The examiner is going to help you produce some language if you haven't done it. For example, oh, sorry for that. We saw the examiner at the beginning. Let's see. Let's listen.
We'll do two things together this afternoon. We'll start with your topic, we'll talk together, and then we'll have a conversation.
Okay.
So we're going to talk about your little son.
Yes.
How long have you been a father?
So the examiner with this question, what is she doing? How does she help? Exactly, she helps the candidate, Ali, to talk about the indefinite past. How long have you? And later on, Ali responds.
Arin. Actually, he's born in Greece. He's not born in UK, yes.
Really? In Greece?
Yes.
Oh.
And he is only 3 years old.
So, you've been a father for 3 years then?
Yes, it is.
And you've put here, he likes playing with toys. Have you bought him any new toys recently?
So again, what we see is, again, she helps Ali to talk about the indefinite past, and also uses a quantifier, we'll see it now, to help the candidate to also use a quantifier.
Yes, I bought toys actually three days a week, and he would like most of cars, which is he bought last 3 days, I think. I bought a big lorry.
Yes.
I spent about £35.
Wow.
And he really liked it.
I've got a little grandson who's nearly 3, and he prefers toys that make a lot of noise.
Oh.
Yeah, did you hear that? She said a lot of noise, as if she's sending a signal to the candidate. Remember, you can use that now. You can say something like, oh, my child doesn't like a lot of noise, you know, something like that. So again, this is a video. It is on YouTube. It is on the Trinity. Excuse me. It is on the Trinity College London website. You can find it and watch it, and you can see how the examiner helps the candidate. I have some more ideas here. She helped him with past events, talk about the duration of events, when later on she said for how long, and then talk about the future, to use quantifiers again, and to talk about the indefinite past. And at the end, if you remember, she reminded Ali to ask a question. She said, ask me a question about your topic. So it is important, and I know that you will be very stressed, perhaps some of you, during the exam, but it is important to have your ears open and listen to those cues from the examiner. The examiner is there to help you. Yes, they will do exactly the same as what you just watched here. So what is that we need to remember? Listen to the questions the examiner asks you. Focus on the language they use. If they ask a question with a present perfect, if they say, how long have you been a father for? Have you been a father? Then use that language in your response. I have been a father for. Use the language the examiner uses to show to the examiner that you know this language, that you can use it. That's an example, the example I just used earlier. Finally, some survival language, some things to know for you. What do you do if you do not hear the examiner? Tell me in the chat box, what do you do? You say, pardon, you say, beg your pardon. Could you repeat that, please? Ask the examiner to repeat. I see good ideas there. So is it a problem? Is it a problem if you do not hear the examiner and you ask, oh, sorry, can you repeat that? Is this a problem? Not at all. Not at all. We do that in everyday life, don't we? We do. So absolutely great. You know, sorry, I didn't hear that. Sorry, could you repeat this, please? And that's part of natural conversation. What do you do if you do not understand the examiner? So the examiner asked you a question, you heard the question, but you didn't understand the question. What do you do? What do you say? Ask to rephrase. Sorry, I didn't understand. Yes, what do you mean by that? I see all that in the chat box. I didn't understand. Could you say the different? Is it a problem if you listen, if you hear, you know, listen to a question you don't understand? No, if you can ask, listen what is important. Listen, if you can ask the examiner to rephrase and the conversation continues, the conversation doesn't break down, it's absolutely fine and natural. So you don't need to worry about it. You can say, can you explain what you mean? I'm not sure what you mean. I'm not sure I understood that. Can you explain? And the examiner, exactly, what do you mean by that? The examiner will explain. And you will be able then to give your response and show that you can use the language of the level accurately and appropriately. My last survival tip. What do you do if you do not remember how to say something or you need some time to think? So the examiner asks you a question and you don't remember the word, you remember, but you cannot say it. Ask for more time. How do you ask for more time? Somebody says, do you know what? I can't recall. Let me think. Oh, I love it. I love it. Sorry, I just need a minute. Yes, that's a good question. You need, you know, we say you need to buy time. You might have heard this expression. So you can say things, let me think. Let me think. How do I say, what is the word for, and then you can maybe explain what you want to talk about. Or sorry, no, let me think. Absolutely. Is it a problem? It is not a problem at all. Exactly. Remember, we are talking about the topic discussion, the first phase, the first part of your GESE 5 exam. And it has to be a conversation. It's a topic that you prepare. You lead the conversation, but it has to be a conversation. It has to be natural. You have to be relaxed. All you need to say to yourself is, you've spent so much time and energy to prepare for this topic. You have your topic form. You have the different points for discussion. It is a topic you know. So you should not feel nervous in the exam. Remember, the examiner is there to help you produce the language that you have to produce for this level. So my advice, choose a topic that you know well. Choose something that you like talking about. Choose discussion points that help you show the examiner that you can use the required language points. I showed you yesterday and at the beginning today how to plan this topic form, these discussion points in a way that will make sure you are using the language that you have to use. Use questions. When you start your topic discussion, use questions. Engage the examiner. Carefully listen to the question the examiner asks you. When you respond, use the language the examiner used in their question. Repeat the language. How long have you been a father for? I have been a father for 5 years. And use full sentences. Short forms are absolutely fine. Short, you know, and you, like we saw earlier, they're fine. But use full sentences to make sure you show to the examiner that you can use the language you need to use. A final word of advice is that the topic discussion phase is not like a game of squash. It's not just you. It's not you playing with yourself. The topic discussion phase is really like a game of tennis, where you pass the ball from you to the examiner back to you, you to the examiner back to you. Thank you very much for being here today. I hope you found this useful. Please check the website that you can see on this slide. It's the Trinity College London website for this exam. You will find there all the videos, you know, the video that I showed you today, videos of different candidates going through the exam. You can see different examiners, and you will understand that all examiners are doing the same. They help you with their questions to produce the language that you need to use. You can find activities there that will help you prepare. You will find a sample topic form to download as well. I hope to see you tomorrow, where we will look into the second phase of the exam. We're going to look into the conversation stage. Have a very good day wherever you are. Stay healthy, and I'm looking forward to talking to you tomorrow. Bye-bye.